Hi guys, it's Michele and today we're gonna have a look at the Churchill Mark 1, the heavy tank of the British Tech Tree line on Tier 5. This tank is useful in a couple of ways. Without using premium account, you can earn quite a lot of money and sustain your economy. And as well, you can train your crew if you don't have any premium tanks. That's the useful part. But first, let's look at the armor. For a heavy tank, this thing is not so good. It actually pales in comparison to the KV-1 Soviet heavy tank. And this is why. 88mm on the front with flat armor. Basically, you're gonna face guns that have 110 penetration, and all of those guns will actually penetrate you. The only guns that you can actually bounce reliably are the lower tier guns, and you have to angle this thing for quite a lot of time, because if you angle it properly, the 88mm become 110mm. Note that the older turret of this tank has more armor, but it cannot mount the heavier gun, which is actually and needed because of its penetration values. But about the gun later. Now the rest of the armor on your tank is actually hard on some places but quite squishy on the other places. For example, your lower plate is actually a big weak spot. Your right side of the hull is actually a weak spot, and only this little added armor is actually the thing that can actually protect you, as you can see over here. And it goes up to 177mm, which is pretty high. And if you are side scraping, I recommend that you hide this part of the tank and only show to the enemy this side of the tank, so your tracks can actually absorb the damage. Be aware, sometimes the wheel over here is a part of a hitbox, so be aware of that. So ideally, if you want to side scrape with around the corners with the Churchill one, it's gonna be at these angles where your armor reaches 415mm and provide as little as possible for the enemy to shoot at your flat side of the cupola. Churchill I, as every British tank, is actually very weak to the artillery fire because it has only 19mm to 15mm of armor. Not to mention that the rear of the tank is actually quite exposed and doesn't have much armor at all. So if you're fighting against this tank, you have a couple of options to shoot at it frontally, but also if you can flank it, this tank is actually pretty dead because it's not one of the maneuverable tanks in the game. Now that we saw the armor model, let's go into Garage to talk about stats. So as we saw in the armor review, let's just look at the survivability of the tank. As I saw before, 177mm over here, and the rest of the tank just has 80 or maybe 60 or 88 at best. So you know what to do. Basically, when you are side scraping, do it like this, and remember, keep an eye on that track wheel because sometimes it's a part of the hitbox somehow. Anyway, 177mm with the 88 on the turret. Well, the sides, as I said before, are 63, rear 50, top 19 to 15mm of armor. So all those things keep this tank as a very weakly armored machine. So it's not a carry one in a matter of the alpha or the mobility, but as the mobility goes, it's a bit much more easier to control because of the traverse speed, which is 23 degrees per second, which is not so good, but it's actually decent enough. And we have also top speed, which is not so good for, and considering all in all, this is a heavy tank, so 25 kilometers per hour front on the front, and in the reverse, we can get up to 14 kilometers per hour. With the firepower, we have something very nice, and this is the 75mm Vickers cannon. To get to the Vickers cannon, I totally recommend that you go for the howitzer, then the 6-pounder, and after 6-pounder get to the Vickers cannon. Before you go with that, you need to get the tracks open because the turret is gonna be heavy a bit. After you get the cannon, after that you can go with the engine and the radio station and the last two tanks. And if you want to keep up with this thing, keep in mind what you're gonna do. This thing, it has a very good rate of fire. It has very good penetration for its AP rounds and has very good penetration for its APCR rounds, considering this is a tier 5 tank. 145mm of penetration with AP rounds, 202 with APCR, and really little alpha damage, but tank is not made for the alpha. The dispersion is 0.36, 2.3 aim time. With this crew that I have at the moment, I can reload every 4 seconds, just a bit over a 4-second reload time. To achieve speed is decent enough, and the aim time is very good. The dispersion is very good with this thing. The aim time is 2.16 and 0.34 of the dispersion, which makes this tank a very good tank when you need to snipe the higher tier enemies' weak spot. So this tank is actually very good with the sniping capabilities and with rate of fire, but it lacks the alpha as I said before, so you need to keep on pumping the shots in the enemies. I recommend to use APCR only if the situation when the enemy, wants to bully you, and use your 202mm of penetration to get through them. An AP for your own tier, maybe one tier higher, the squishier targets, and for the rest of the low tier tanks. This tank is a backup, don't use it as a frontal tank to push the line in, and keep in mind to side clip whenever you can by looking after that frontal wheel and not giving the enemy much of the time to aim at your flat side. So angle turret left and right. So you have now the Churchill I crew. You have two options. You can go with all of them, just picking one skill, Brothers in Arms and Repairs. Like Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms and Repairs. Of course, resetting when needed. And you have a couple of other options. You can go with this Sixth Sense, you can go at Sixth Sense with the Recon, Brothers in Arms and Repairs. You can go with your two gunners with the two options. You can go with the repairs, and for one you pick a Deadeye, the other Snapshot, and after that later on reset your camo or repair skills to get to the system where you have these two perks for these two gunners with the combination of Brothers in Arms and repairs. After that you have your driver. You can go with the system to pick one skill. I totally recommend clutch braking because you're not gonna go anywhere fast and you need that turning radius. So clutch braking, after that clutch braking, go with the repairs, and after repairs I totally recommend that you go with the Brothers in Arms and reset if necessary. And for the last one is your loader. Loader has safe stowage and adrenaline rush. With the repairs, that's my first kind of build. After that I'm going to reset, add the Brothers in Arms, and so that I can finish my crew to be maximized as they can. On the retrofit side, I totally recommend medium caliber tank gun rammer with the ventilation system, and if you want to increase your view range, which is currently 358 without these binos, yes, without the binos 358 view range, increase them a bit because this tank is going nowhere fast, and that extra view range can actually help you out in sniping with this very good cannon, a very precise cannon. So you can actually drop in the end, as a secondary option, you can drop the binos and go for the enhanced gun lane drive. And with that thing, we conclude our talking garage. Let's jump into battle so I can show you how this thing is played. And as you can see, today we have a matchmaking that's pretty good for us, and we have a little companion with us. He's also playing a Churchill, but his Churchill is stock, so keep that in mind. And as you can see, now we are chatting and actually raging where should one of us go. And I told him, go right, I'll go up, and that's the way that we're gonna actually win the game. And hopefully win the game actually. And we have a situation where in roll tanks every position counts. So when you are driving on the position, keep in mind to get that there in time. And what this prick in the Type 95 is doing, I don't recommend to any of you. So if you want to be a good teammate, a good player, don't do this crap. Don't be an asshole like this. This is equivalent of team damage. Just to be aware. This kind of blocking intentionally is basically what kills sometimes the game. It doesn't matter if it's a tier 10, 1 or any other tier. As you can see by this behavior, I don't approve this at all. Anyway, after this flanker went with his merry way, let's go and do some damage. Mother 1, Mother 3 actually over there, and he's actually trying his best to stay alive in this game because he's bottom tier, but his gun can hurt us a lot. So I'm trying to find a way to be effective. Now we have our T-28, which got taken out at the start. Well, T-28 did take out 2 of them, but at the price of the tank. While staying on the open, it's not very good tactic. Now, thinking about going forward, no, I'm not gonna go forward because the enemy will have me in a crossfire, and I should wait just a bit for the situation to settle down and see if one of the enemy is gonna push. And the enemy is not pushing. Actually, I'm gonna push, and I'm gonna use my side scraping ability with this obstacle in front of me to actually fire at something. And there is a Crusader, which almost made a flip jump, but unlucky for us, he didn't flip at all. And we see the Type 95. Keep in mind, even the low caliber guns can use their HE, and your side scraping can be reset if you, let's say, can't pick the base, or if you are desperate enough to do some damage to the enemy and fire HE. This Type 95 driver definitely has some experience, as you will see later, because he's doing his very best to avoid my gun and keep his gun in game. And I was just a bit too zealous to get him and almost flipped my tank around, so let's not embarrass ourselves just yet. So aiming at the enemy Type 95 and firing, but the RNG on my tank definitely sends my shots flying all over it. So I should be doing something else, like pushing the line and trying to get this tank to blow his cover actually, and get him that way. Meanwhile, on our right side, our team is doing their best to secure the other flank, but this flank of mine is actually failing in the middle, as well as the enemy RT is in the game and it's wreaking havoc on our team. And that RT is what worries me. Now, first shot into Type 95, and as you can see right now, he's doing his very best to avoid my shots. And we have 2 targets in front of us, the SRV, which is destroyed by my ally, the other ally destroys the Type 95, and the AKV, unfortunately I miss him, but my ally has him as well. So, this is a very good start for me, is it? 8-8, score is a draw. As you can see, RT is basically firing at any Churchill tank or any heavy tank that he can get his hands on, and the Stug 3G gets behind my ally and destroys him. So, now that my teammate is gone, I have to carry this game by myself. So, Stug 3 goes forward, goes right into my shot, second shot hits him as well, Stug 3 blows my tracks, doing no damage, and I finish him off. This is how you're actually gonna play when you are forced to fight against enemy rushing tanks. So aim in front of him just a bit, fire there, just count to 2 seconds and fire, and your shot will be hitting them. Now we have a Bishop and a T-67 that are in front of us, and I don't know actually how to counter it in the end. Now, actually I do know how to counter it. We have a situation, the Bishop's gonna die. This Bishop is dead. We have a Lago behind us, we have an unspotted AKV, we have an unspotted Panzer IV. Now we have to cut off the T-67 line of advance and be aware of the enemy RT, because the RT, once we get spotted, is gonna be focusing on us more than anything else, because RT, if I was the RT driver, I will be focusing on taking out the heaviest tanks in the game, and which are actually the most dangerous tanks in the game. So T-67 advancing forward, Lago, I don't have time to worry about Lago. T-67 is in my sight, first shot in, second shot is being reloaded, and that shot goes in, and my T-67 finished him off. Lago on my right side, and actually is doing his best to, how can I say, avoid me, and the enemy Panzer IV is over there as well. So before actually advancing, doing something else, I'm actually gonna do something like be here, aim at the enemy, and do my best to farm damage on him. Now I'm aiming the Panzer IV. Panzer IV is on his side armor, and by the looks of it, looks like that poor Panzer IV is actually a stock Panzer IV and not very much experienced player, but he's doing his best. Anyway, Another shot goes in, another hit on the Panzer IV. He's down to the one-shot kill. Luckily for us, the Panzer IV wasn't the guy who is so fully upgraded, so we're gonna get him. Definitely we're gonna get him. Now we're gonna let him go around the corner, and actually we're gonna aim at him to finish him off. As you can see, we take one shot of damage, but we do a snapshot by missing the enemy. Second shot is fully aimed and it hits the enemy. Now we're gonna pull back and take a breather, because at the moment we have an enemy RT which is pretty nasty. We have IKV which can get us if they go actually behind our tank, just around here on the engine part. They can penetrate us. That's why I'm gonna use this hill to provide as much cover as I can get, and we're gonna speed up the situation for a bit because it's gonna be hide and seek for the whole time. Actually, I'm gonna be hiding, they're gonna seek for me. And as you can see, I'm expecting the enemy on my right side, on my left side, and I'm just picking out just enough to be in the cover from the RT and try to focus find the enemy and get them before they get me. If Lago is upgraded, they can penetrate us, but if Lago tank is not upgraded, it cannot penetrate us unless he's firing gold ammo. That's a good way to know what you're gonna do with the top tier tank. Of course, Lago can penetrate us if he fires at our engine deck, and if he cannot penetrate us at our frontal part. That's very good couple of informations when you're playing against a stock enemy tier 4. Same almost goes for the AKV, but for the AKV I need to be on the angle. So the Lago pops out, Lago is there, AKV comes from behind me, and I'm using a side-scraping maneuver to minimize the exposure. Lago is using stock gun, and he cannot penetrate us unless he is using gold. AKV bounces off harmlessly, and we can continue on to punish these tanks. Now we're gonna go into back, keep our frontal part turned to the enemy Lago, and we can destroy the AKV, and now we can actually focus on the Lago tank and take him out as well. So as you saw over here, the Lago was aimed poorly equipped with the very bad gun. He didn't use APCR ammo, and if I was in the Lago shoes, I would definitely use pack at least 10 gold ammo rounds for situations like this where I need to penetrate my enemy. And now, once he bounced all of his shots on us, we can only wait. And for now, we have two options. Lago can be on our right side and count on the RT on us, and he can be on the other side as well, spotting us for the enemy RT, because he knows he cannot penetrate us at all. But I'm gonna do something very stupid. I'm gonna go in reverse, and my plan is, if the Lago spots me and the RT comes firing from its base, I can press W and move forward, and the Lago is over there. I'm just gonna do a quick snapshot. In the meantime, the AMX appears, and as I destroy the enemy Lago, AMX plants one big hit into me, and this is pretty damaging for me. Almost half of HP is left on my tank, and basically 1 or 2 shots for the enemy RT, depends on how good the roll is. But remember, AMX RT is also 1 or 2 shots for me as well. So I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna try to find him and fight him. Now, the Churchill I has one bad side. Well, actually one bad thing which I haven't covered in the garage. If you managed to stay this long with me, you know that Churchill I has very bad gun depression. Yes, the gun is great, but it has very bad gun depression, and I cannot get my gun down enough to get him. So now I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go over here and hope that the enemy AMX is not preparing for the shotgun mode. And the shotgun mode might be appearing on this side as well. And after that, the MX is over here, not preparing for the shotgun mode. He's actually running to the hill, and we are both gonna use the hill to peek out and try to trade damage, or see if I can bait him to miss me. After he misses me, I can actually go full forward and destroy him. And now let's see if that's gonna work. MX went here, I fired, he fired, and as you can see right over here, I think he's gonna miss just now. Yep, he's done something very stupid. He went backwards, and actually now he flipped. No, I think he flipped. Maybe he went into the side of the mountain, maybe a glitch or a bug, so he was stuck over there. But unfortunately for us, the enemy is on his side, and I'm still being pretty much confused why my shots aren't going anywhere, because he is right over here, as you can see. And that's one easy kill for me, and the end of this game. So let's see the little scores of the match. Znači da ne smijem da previše se igram i moram da rizikujem i prvi hitac promašuje ga tenka. On ide skroz u stranu ove planine. Iskoristit ćemo ovu planinu upravo da koristi meni i njemu. To jeste da se ja krijem da se on krije. Sad sam siguran da ne šanju na mene, međutim dolazi do malog obrta upravo sad ovdje. Ja mislim da je on, kao što vidite, nanišanio prema meni i da je, kao što vidite po silueti, spreman da puca na mene. Ja ću prokrenuti malo u stranu. Ono što ja ne primjećujem upravo u ovom trenutku da je gospodin AMX13 napravio fatalnu grešku i da je uspio da se okrene na svoju stranu. Samim time dao mi je čistu pobjedu za ovaj meč. Ja još uvijek idem naprijed nazad misleći da ništa nije put mene. I malo sam zbunjen gdje se protivnik nalazi, dok nisam primijetio ovu situaciju. I tako, kao što vidite, završava se ova partija. Pobjedom i sa 5 uništenja. Hajde pogledamo detaljnije rezultate ove igre. So, let's see the results. Results are here. Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Hand of God, Duelists, Fighter, Fire for Effect and a Shell Proof. Of course with the Steel Wall and High Caliber. Unfortunately the 6th kill got away and we got only 5 kills. Now we have 1756 damage done with 1123 experience points. Detail score said I fired 30 shots and I hit 16 and I penetrated all those 16 shots. Also, I received 17 shots in my tank. As you can see, with the good matchmaking, results like this can happen very easily. And I blocked the damage of 1000 HP. Without the premium account, I would earn 21k credits. With the premium account, I managed to earn 35k credits. This is actually very good for us because we played on an event and I got 1 day of premium. Also, without the premium account, I would get 1146 experience. With the premium account, I managed to get 1719 experience. All in all, this is a decent game and with very good matchmaking with little or few tanks that were upgraded, which is lucky for us. And once we managed to eliminate these threats for our tank, we actually managed to get a pretty good game. So, this is for the Churchill I, and I'll be seeing you all in the next game.